Or some documents of this seminar. Everyone documents each presentation we put on our website, so you can find all documents on the website Slovak Supreme Audit Office. Imrich Gal is here, so we can start.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear colleague, we will continue with our presentation. The next presenter is Bálint Horváth, came from Hungary, from State Audit Office of Hungary. His position in SAI is the head of Department of Communication and Institutional Relation. He has been working 6 years in SAI Hungary, field of education, journalism, media management, and spokesperson communication management. Fields of expertise, journalism, communication, media, and PR. Some basic information about major projects, professional highlights. He is editor of the new portal of Supreme Audit Office and the Public Finance Quarterly Online. He is also leader of USA project group on social utilization of Supreme Audit offices. Some information about professional and personal profile. This journalist media manager graduated as a spokesperson communication manager. He has completed his studies at the University of Szeged and the Budapest College of Communication and Business. Currently, he is PhD student at the National University of Public Service, Doctor School of Public Administration Sciences. His research field covers the social utilization of public financial audits and the application of innovative communication techniques at public institutions. He is also a member of the National Association of Hungarian Speakers and the Association of Hungarian Financial and Economic Auditors. Title his presentation is Sharing Good Practices Communication Peer Review. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Szulaj. Dear Mr. President, dear Mr. Auditor Generals, distinguished colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for allowing me to take the floor. My name is Bálint Horváth. I'm the head of communication and institutional relations of the SAO of Hungary, and in my presentation I'm going to use Prezi software because Prezi is a Hungarian innovation. Prezi.com is a Hungarian company, and I have to use this presentation software. The focus point of my presentation is in line with my position as presenter, the end of a peer review process, the utilization of results by implementation and follow-up. The occasion of me standing here is that State Audit Office of Hungary took part in a peer review between 2014 and 2016, where its external communication activities were evaluated. I would like to present you, and I truly hope that you will consider it interesting, the concept that drives our peer review activity and the way we utilize the results by using our communication peer review as example. It's also my intention to show how the whole process was detected and monitored and what it's really of a crucial importance measured and changed if it was needed. Why our peer reviews are important? What brings us together is the belief that peer reviews contribute to the quality of SAI's work and performance. Faster, more dynamic, and more efficient. This is the word of today and even of tomorrow. These are the emerging challenges that all SAIs have to face now and in the future, regardless of their mandate, contexts, and activities. IJGA, the value and benefits of Supreme Audit institutions, also pursues an overarching objective for SAIs, making a difference to the lives of citizens. Peer reviews support SAIs in their endeavors to keep up with the challenges and to reach the objective of IJGA, and they help SAIs determine where they stand for their internal development purposes and enables them to demonstrate their credibility with external stakeholders. Why is peer review important for SAO? As GB Shaw, the Nobel Prize awarded Irish playwright, said, "We are made wise not by the recollection of our past, but by the responsibility for our future." Not to conform to the responsibility for future, quality-based approach shines through the total operation of the SAO. Besides other needs, our quality-based approach created specific need for self-assessment and peer reviews over the years. As a result, the SAO of Hungary have completed 5 self-assessments and or peer reviews between 2014 and 2017 in various subjects, including IT audit, communication, and integrity as well. The drive behind our peer review activity has always been a belief, and this is also our professional experience too. The peer review is a kind of passport to the future. And what does it mean? What does it mean? What we understand under passport to the future? People have always had a fascination with knowing the future. From the legendary crystal balls and magic mirrors to staring at tea leaves, people have found several ways to do so in history. However, discovering the future does not require magic, but requires keeping the pulse of the relevant environment. It's also true that organizations may be pulled in new directions by looking not just inward, but outward as well. Peer review can meet both needs. It builds on knowledge of the professional environment, including trends and prospects, and given field and offers an outward perspective due to the external peer reviewers. Consequently, in our understanding, passport to the future means that peer review is a tool that brings the future right to SAI's front door. The rationale behind is that peer review identifies the trends and issues that may shape the future of the given SAI and open possibilities for innovations by giving inspirations and suggestions for development by professionals working on the same field. And how can we make the future inspired by the peer review happen? This is a key question, I think. We truly believe that information obtained through peer review worth as much as it's used for development. This is also in line with our renewed strategy that puts more focus on utilization approach through all fields of operation. Let me present you how we do this using our communication peer review as an example. The communication activities of the SAO of Hungary have been renewed over the past few years. SAO moved further and decided to have the innovations and methodologies introduced from 2010, as well as the result achieved evaluated in the context of a peer review. The peer review took place between 2014 and 2016, as I mentioned, and evaluated the communication activities between 2010 and 2015, including communication with the public, the society, the National Assembly, several public authorities, the press, as well as the cooperation with audited entities and audited organizations. It was carried out by the SAO of Poland and Lithuania. The team carrying out the peer review evaluated the diverse communication activities of the SAO on the basis document review questionnaires, as well as the interviews with colleagues and external partners. From the SAO's side, the project was supported by cross-department teamwork. As a result of the peer review, our partners concluded that the SAO of Hungary established a professional and efficient communication system that complies with its mission, its strategy, and the applicable act, and contributes to the practical utilization of its efforts. In addition to the strength of the SAO's communication activities, the peers also highlighted the areas where they identified the possibilities for development to enhance efficiency. In line with recommendations of ESI 5600, we did not stop at the peer review report. To benefit the most from the highly valuable recommendations of our peers, we set up two projects. One for the implementation of peer recommendations, and the other for the monitoring of implementation. The whole process was governed in line with SAO change management activity. Our strategy states that SAO shall become an organization which can meet the challenges of our age, can adapt to changes, and thus it can really serve the whole society. Therefore, the objective of our change management activity is to strengthen SAO's capacity and develop the system's external and internal ability to react in order to give substantial answers as soon as possible to the challenges that arise. The SAO believes that having a systematic and structured tool for change management mitigates the related risks and improves effectiveness. Therefore, the SAO elaborated a guideline for the conscious and effective change management at the office. The guideline offers framework, process, and method, not just the implementation of changes, but also for the monitoring of progress, identifying of risks, and interventions if needed. This model was really helpful during the utilization of peer review results. The objective of the first project was elaborate a utilization and action plan to further improve the communication activities. The plan was intended to serve as the drive of change management as regards the SAO's communication activity. Our peers formulated 9 recommendations effective for key issues within 3 main areas. The utilization and action plan integrated all these recommendations and identified altogether 22 actions to be addressed by different departments of the SAO of Hungary. 14 of the 22 actions needed to be completed in 2016, while the other 8 waited for implementation in 2017. The summary of the utilization and action plan was sent to the SAIs conducting the peer review. The plan outlined in detail how it plans to develop the communication activity so that it would help the utilization of the audit work in a more targeted way. The second project was set up to monitor the implementation of the tasks outlined in the utilization and action plan by the strategic department. During the past 2 years, the SAO monitored the actual status of implementation altogether 6 times. and prepared an interim evaluation report for internal approval in line with our change management guideline. These evaluations served also as lead of iteration as decision points to assess whether change is needed in the implementation of the action plan. The issue of the communication peer review and the implementation of the results were also addressed in the relevant annual report of the SAO of Hungary. At the end of second project, the SAO prepared a summary report that gave an overview about the progress made in relation to the communication with external stakeholders and the compliance of the tasks completed with the utilization and action plan. In addition, the summary report evaluated how the achieved results were utilized within the organization and assessed the potential further actions. After evaluating the actions made and their impact, the SAO concluded that tasks undertaken along the lines of the peers' recommendations have led to changes in all areas, contributing to the greater utilization of its audit work, thus improving society's awareness and recognition of the SAO. As part of the progress, the SAO has developed its website and social media platforms, expanded the context of these sites, analyzed the social media and YouTube presence of the SAO, and also launched in its weekly newsletter. These measures help to utilize the potential of its online presence and coordinate the operation of its online platforms. Important steps have been made towards comprehensibility. Among others, we have determined the key utilization areas and messages to the public to reach a better understanding. We have also launched a video and article series on audit terminology, we call it Clearly About Finances, and started to publish the audit reports in a more reader-friendly and clearer format. We have also improved the efficiency of communication and cooperation with law enforcement authorities and made steps towards addressing the communication with the audited entities. Please allow me to sum up shortly what I was talking about in my presentation. We believe that peer review is a kind of passport to the future. It's a tool that brings the future right to the SAI's front door, and this future needs to be made happen by concentrate actions. Therefore, in case of the communication peer review, the SAO decided to follow and implement the peers' recommendations and approved a utilization and action plan for this purpose. The plan was communicated to the peer review team. In addition, a sophisticated monitoring mechanism was set up to evaluate the progress of the implementation of the action plan to achieve the full value of the peer review process by stimulating improvement and change. Should it be of your interest, we are happy to share and discuss our experience on change management and the implementation of self-assessment and peer review results in more detail. Discussions like this are always a mutual benefit and can be also useful in relation to our intentions to evaluate our performance in the field of quality control and IT as well. Finally, let me convey to you salutations from the President of the SAO of Hungary, László Domokos, who considered that this conference is of paramount importance. Thank you very much for your kind attention.
Thank you, Mr. Horváth, for your excellent presentation. This presentation gives us answer why it's important peer review for Supreme Audit Offices, Supreme Audit Institution. I think that your presentation, this theme is also very close with accountability and transparency of Supreme Audit Institution. Once more, thank you. The next presenter is a lady from United States of America. Her name is Heather Santos. She has been working 2 years in International Journal of Government Auditing. Some information about false education. public affairs, broadcast and print journalism, visual communication, marketing. Some basic information about fields of expertise, public affairs, journalism and visual communication. Information about major projects and professional highlights, designing, writing, editing the Intosai Journal, publication website and social media. Professional and personal profile, over 20 years of experience in public affairs and communication, including position in radio and television, print journalism, marketing and community and congressional relation. Assignments have been based in the USA as well as overseas, serving multinational audience, both civilian and military. Title of presentation, Communicate to Motivate. The floor is yours.
So when Imrich reached out to me a few weeks ago and asked me to present for 30 minutes, I was kind of nervous. How do I feel, 30 minutes? But I timed it out, and if I stick to my notes, it should be about 27 minutes, 42 seconds. So I think I'm good. I'm kidding. It's about 10 minutes. Actually, I want to open by referencing something that really stuck with me yesterday when Mr. Nelson introduced the concept of credibility as a size currency. It made me think, if auditing is our business and credibility is our currency, what role does communication play? Communicating can actually help grow this credibility currency. Going a step further, we can unite all of these concepts, auditing, credibility, and communication, by capitalizing on the Intosai Journal as a communication tool, a resource for everyone. While the journal is published within GAO's Strategic Planning and External Liaison Office, I am no auditor. The closest I've come to being an auditor is sharing elevator space with one, or by virtue of communicating with auditors who share stories with me as the journal's editor. There's a keyword in there, and no, it's not auditor. It's communicating. Communicating is powerful. And let me just say that I'm truly impressed and myself truly motivated by the rich and robust communications I have witnessed these past few days. The personal connections, the presentations, the posters hanging on the wall in the back of the room. They are all forms of communication. They all provide tremendous benefits. You don't have to be in a position of authority to be a leader. We are all leaders. And something that communication definitely does is allow us all as leaders to inspire. What we must ask ourselves is, what's the example we want to be setting? Simply, what we do, what we communicate, should inspire and motivate others to respond in ways that add value. When we discover colleagues have experienced and have successfully navigated similar situations, I feel it's quite empowering. Somebody's been there before, somebody's done it. For instance, when it comes to employing peer reviews, I suspect there's a great deal of apprehension, as peer reviews require a certain amount of vulnerability. You have to be open to this feedback. But if we know others have taken the leap, it may be just what we need to take the first step as well. The first step to becoming better, recognizing that the peer review journey is not about criticism, it's about improvement. When we communicate our experiences, knowledge, and ideas, we increase our knowledge base, new ideas, new methodologies. Communicating creates such phenomenal potential for us as individuals, for us as supreme audit institutions, for us as an Intosai that truly embraces the motto that mutual experience benefits all. I invite you to share your story with the journal, with each other. I invite you to join the journal's social media audience. The idea is to grow our community, enhance our ability to communicate and share ideas. If two heads are better than one, just imagine the possibilities that we can achieve as Intosai. Thank you.
Mr. Head, thank you for your excellent presentation. For me, it was very interesting idea, new ideas and new methodology. I think that the international journal is one of the important tools how to gain new information, how to gain new information and how to give the information to the other colleague. It's about the knowledge sharing, about the best practices. Thank you. The last but not least presenter is Irina Tretiakova. She came from Supreme Audit Office of Russia Federation. Her position, the Accounts Chamber of Russian Federation. She is also director of the Department for Expert Analytical and Control Activities in the field of federal budget expenditures for international relations and international cooperation, of the budget of the Union State and of the turnover of federal property abroad. She has been working 7 years in a Supreme Audit Office of Russia Federation. Something about education, higher education in field of mathematics, state and municipal public administration, basic information about fields of expertise, federal budget expenditures for international relation and international cooperation, the budget of the Union State, and the turnover of federal property abroad. Major project in professional engagement. First project, performance audit on Union State programs. Second, control over implementation of production sharing agreements. Third, performance evaluation of the constituent audit institution of the Russian Federation. Some basic information about the professional and personal profile. Her employees are a team. In their work, the main goal is the result, and the result is not just about detecting violation, but also about giving a recommendation on elimination of this violation and systemic shortcomings, on improvement of legal framework. Afterwards, it is essential to achieve implementation of their recommendation. Title of presentation, Practice of the Accounts Chamber of the Russian Federation in carrying out peer reviews. The floor is yours.
Добрый день, уважаемые коллеги. Сегодня я расскажу вам о нашей практике проверки равных. Российская Федерация является федеративным государством, и полномочия между федеральным центром и регионами четко разграничены. На этих же принципах строится деятельность органов внешнего финансового контроля. Счетная палата является высшим органом финансового аудита страны, сфера деятельности которой распространяется на федеральный бюджет, федеральное имущество и иные федеральные ресурсы. В регионах созданы контрольно-счетные органы, контролирующие расходы и использование имущества региона. Но по отношению к счетной палате они абсолютно независимы, работают по отдельному закону. При этом законом о счетной палате предусмотрена возможность оказания им методологической помощи, а также по запросу законодательного органа, которому они подотчетны, оценки эффективности их деятельности. В конце прошлого года за проведением оценки к нам обратились КСО и законодательные органы 45 субъектов Российской Федерации. Это более половины. И мы начали проводить такую оценку. Работа непростая. Нам предстоит оценивать, по сути, равных по положению. При этом учитывать не только общий закон, определяющий их полномочия, но и местное законодательство. При этом, проводя оценку деятельности КСО, мы ставим себе целью не критику и не унифицирование их деятельности, не ранжирование региональных контрольных органов по тем или иным показателям, а прежде всего выработку рекомендаций по совершенствованию их контрольной и экспертно-аналитической деятельности, а возможно и по совершенствованию законодательства в целях повышения эффективности финансового контроля и аудита. Наши мероприятия по оценке охватывают практически все сферы деятельности контрольно-счетных органов, включая профессионализм кадрового состава, использование в их работе информационных технологий, а также информационную открытость деятельности контрольных органов. Значимое внимание уделяется нами качеству проводимых ими контрольных и экспертно-аналитических мероприятий. правильности квалификации выявляемых нарушений, применяются ли достаточные меры по устранению нарушений, а также даются ли рекомендации в целях недопущения выявленных нарушений впредь, в том числе рекомендации по совершенствованию нормативной базы. Начали мы свою работу с разработки типовой программы оценки, с тем, чтобы все КСО, подлежащие оценке в 2018 году, понимали, по каким вопросам и по каким критериям будет проводиться анализ их деятельности. Далее, приступая к оценке конкретного контрольно-счетного органа на основе типовой программы, но с учетом регионального законодательства и с учетом межбюджетных отношений субъекта с федерацией, мы составляем отдельную программу. В целях обеспечения одинакового подхода, объективности оценки, мы по каждому направлению выработали критерии оценки полноты и эффективности реализации полномочий КСО. Здесь нам было важно понять следующее. Насколько глубоко контрольно-счетный орган оценивает обоснованность запланированных расходов, оценивает он или нет влияние вводимых субъектом налоговых льгот и преференций, оценивает ли долговые обязательства субъекта и дает ли рекомендации по снижению долговой нагрузки, дает
danej inštitúcie a či dáva odporúčanie pre zlepšenie vnútrorozpočtového.
Could anyone indicate whether you can hear English? Could anyone raise your hand if you hear English?
в том числе в части реализации государственных программ, инвестиционных мероприятий, снижению дебиторской задолженности, сокращению неэффективных расходов и так далее. Анализу подлежат также подходы к планированию, охват аудитом распорядителей средств и охват объема бюджетных средств. В контрольной деятельности предпочтение отдается ревизиям или во главу принципа ставится системная проблема, которая далее изучается посредством проверок нескольких объектов. С точки зрения качества проводимых мероприятий целесообразно проанализировать, подлежат ли контролю только уже предусмотренные расходы, или также дается оценка запланированным показателям с точки зрения экономности и эффективности. Далее о результатах контрольных мероприятий. Счетной палатой совместно с контрольно-счетными органами была проведена большая работа по созданию единого классификатора нарушений. Затем совместным решением Счетная палата и Ассоциации КСО договорились пользоваться данным единым классификатором. Во-первых, это сильно упрощает работу по классификации нарушений. Во-вторых, позволяет вести статистику и наглядно показывать наиболее подверженные нарушения сферы использования бюджетных средств, то есть как следствие требующих совершенствования законодательства, либо правоприменения, либо усиления ответственности. Кроме нарушений, в проверках выявляются недостатки. И здесь в ходе оценки деятельности КСО мы ставим себе целью посмотреть, анализирует ли контрольно-счетный орган причины этих недостатков, дает ли рекомендации по устранению этих недостатков и причин, которые их вызывают. В части обеспечения методологической базы деятельности КСО мы смотрим наличие стандартов и проведение контрольных и экспертно-аналитических мероприятий, а также полноту регулирования всех процедур, форм и сроков подготовки итоговых документов в этих стандартах. При этом с целью оказания содействия региональным контрольно-счетным органам Счетная палата разработала и направила в КСО единые требования к стандартам. Значительное внимание при проведении оценки мы уделяем использованию КСО в своей работе информационных ресурсов, как самостоятельно созданных, так и информационных баз федеральных и региональных органов власти. Современные технологии позволяют значительно упростить как получение, так и обработку информации. В этом году нам предстоит большая работа. Ясно, что практика проведения оценки будет вносить свои коррективы, и мы к этому готовы. Результатом работы, я повторяюсь, является прежде всего выработка предложений по повышению эффективности деятельности КСО, как в части правового и методологического регулирования, так и в части практической деятельности. Спасибо за внимание.
Mrs. Tretiakova, thank you for your presentation about the financial audit and about the peer review. We apologize for translation. Excuse me, please, a problem of our translation system. We send this presentation in all Supreme Audit institution in the future. Once more, thank you. Mr. Andrassy, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Mr. President, please give our gift for presenters. And Igor, thank you very much for excellent job in this part of the conference. We will have a very short technical break because we have to change information about the other person who will discuss in the second panel discussion. So please, only 5 minutes we will have a technical break, and then we will start with panel discussion. Ladies and gentlemen, you can find the paper on your table, and please, you can write anything about your opinion, position to this conference, and then you can left this paper on the table, and my colleague to take it after the seminar. Mr. President, the floor is yours. And short information, all presentation from yesterday and today we put on our website, so you can find this presentation on the website of the Slovak Supreme Institution, and we put there translation of the Russia presentation to the English language too, because we changed this presentation only to 3 languages, Slovak, French, and German. Thank you very much, and we will have only 5 minutes, very short break for technical questions. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are ready to continue. We are looking for our one of the speaker, Mohamed Faut. Nasir, please come here. We need you because yeah. Yeah. Thank you very much, and we can continue. Ladies and gentlemen, I have one very short information for you. We put the presentation of our colleague from Russia Federation to our website, so you can find this presentation not only in Russian language, you can find it in English too in this time. So in this time, I would like to give the floor to Mr. Jan van Schalkwyk. He is a moderator of the second panel discussion. John, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I know we're a little bit pressed for time and that we're doing this just before lunch. And we'll try and speed it up to make sure that we don't overrun too badly. If I can ask for your attention, though, and that we sit down, that we can get the session running, please. Allow me in the meantime to introduce the panel that's with me. I've got three people that's joining me on the panel today. The first of those, sitting in the middle there, Nasir Mohamed Fouad, Vice President of SAI of the People's Democratic Republic of Algeria. And I'm just quickly going to reflect on one or two projects that he's involved with. One of these, the drawing up and monitoring of evaluation of the activities of control programs of SAI Algeria, and elaboration of SAI organization, legal text, and status of magistrates and other members of SAI Algeria. Our second participant on the panel, Wilhelmine Runost, on my direct right, from the Netherlands Court of Audit, where she holds the position Senior Advisor Quality Assurance, and very relevant to today, she states that she's currently the team leader of a self-assessment project dealing with SAI PMF framework. The Netherlands Court of Audit busy with the self-assessment in preparation for a peer review by others. And then we've got a last panel member, third from me to my right, Mr. Bernardus Pradana from SAI Indonesia, where he's the Inspector of Audit Quality Assurance, and an impressive list of involvements, amongst others being involved in the peer review projects in SAI Indonesia, issues within his local office, dealing with local government and state-owned enterprises, also outside the office in training, in research and development and internal audit. A quick introductory comment. When we think about the questions that we're going to face today, you can also see those on the agenda. I think for most of us that grew up in supreme audit institutions, certainly for me that grew up in SAI South Africa, we're very au fait with the term lead by example. If we had our Auditor General, Kimi Makwetu, here today, you'd explain it probably something as the following. If we require our auditees to adhere to certain rules, certain regulations, certain requirements, we've got a responsibility to adhere to the same rules, requirements, but do it even better at the ultimate level of excellence. That's lead by example. So in the context of what we do here today, let's just think about what we demand from our auditees when we go out on an audit. We ask of them to be accountable, to be responsible, to be transparent, to report quite openly, to subject them to external audit, and present those reports to Parliament. Surely, if that applies to our auditees, that should apply to us under this term of lead by example. We should be prepared to accountable and responsible undergo things like peer reviews to test how strong we are and whether we reach this level of excellence, and be able to report on that without fear, quite transparently. Enough said, though, around that. I'm going to start with Mr. Horváth and ask him to just spend about 10 minutes at maximum to reflect on Algeria's perspective as an institution that has been peer-reviewed, and to really deal with two of these lead-by-example topics: the desirability of publishing the evaluation report, and to also tell us what follow-up actions one should take in response to the conclusions of the evaluation report. Mr. Horváth.
Merci bien. Je vais intervenir en français, s'il vous plaît, si vous pouvez mettre la traduction. Je me présente. Je suis le vice-président de la Cour des comptes de l'Algérie, l'ISC algérienne. Et monsieur Kobusbot, notre ami Kobusbot de l'Afrique du Sud, m'avait transmis un email pour organiser la discussion du panel numéro 2 si présent. Et il m'avait attribué 6 minutes pour présenter un sujet: comment assurer l'objectivité lors du reportage sur un examen par les pairs, ou comment éviter d'être trop complaisant ou courtois, comment éviter d'être trop gratuit. J'ai répondu à monsieur Kobusbot que l'Algérie, l'ISC d'Algérie a fait l'objet d'un examen par les pairs sous la conduite de Sigma, qui vous a été présenté tout à l'heure par notre collègue de Sigma. Et qu'à ce titre, notre délégation voudrait bien partager son expérience et donner son point de vue en tant qu'institution qui a fait l'objet d'une revue par les pairs. Et elle voulait partager cette expérience sur 2 points. L'appréciation de l'opportunité de la publication du rapport d'évaluation. Et le deuxième point, quelle suite donner aux conclusions du rapport d'évaluation. Et j'avais répondu que pour le point relatif à l'objectivité et à la complaisance, ces 2 points-là sont des aspects qui relèvent beaucoup plus du point des examinateurs plutôt que des ISC examinés. Entre-temps, et en arrivant à Bratislava, dont je remercie l'accueil et la bonne organisation.
In the meantime, let me thank for the great organization of this event. I had the opportunity to share experience and I could and I've come to a conclusion that even SAI has to make sure to provide the resources, provide auditors with the terms so that they could be objective and not somehow limited in their assessment, so that they would not be biased. And on those grounds, sorry, the speaker is too silent. We can't hear the speaker. The perspectives of review of the peer review, it's for the benefit of the reviewed SAI to perform certain framework and collegiate conditions so to make sure that all participants can express their opinions, also critical opinions, without the need of any kind of feeling of disrespect, because it wouldn't be good if the report was only positive and if we're only nice to those who are reviewed. We need to make sure that we avoid being too nice to the reviewed entity. The second point is that I find it really important to lead external auditors what matters is that the experts who come from a different culture background, no matter if it's Europe or American background, it's not only about the technical information such as control of the institution, but it is necessary to provide a maximum possible information. We're talking about relations, about communication. And concerning the conditions under which, or and the rules under which the reviewed institution works. In order to understand you have to get a deep understanding of the culture of the country and understand the administrative policy of that country. And under those terms, the external evaluators can propose such assessment report which is objective, which reflects all those issues. Therefore, it is important to establish on the part of the reviewee and the reviewer to create the atmosphere of mutual trust and respect. If that's not the case, it is not possible to understand each other. However, how should we create the atmosphere of trust? It is important for SAI, which is the reviewee, to be deeply convinced and motivated, and unless it has such motivation that internal request of the SAI to be reviewed and to discuss, then the peer review will not succeed unless there is such atmosphere, because the review of or audit of SAI actually this is where the review can also lead to some accusation or however also recommendations.
I'm sorry, if the speaker could speak into the microphone, the interpreters don't hear. Who is auditing us? Is anybody, could you tell the gentleman to speak in the microphone? Okay, to introduce an example, we seem to have a technical issue, sorry. This assessment cannot be accepted then, and we need to be deeply convinced that Sorry, we don't hear. Okay, we have the sound now. This is when the SAI, the audited SAI, can carry out this. Sorry, there was a technical hiccup. There are 2 or 3 small requirements, conditions are necessary to be complied with. These are psychological aspects of the particular audit. This means that we need to establish trust among the whole group of the audited group. It needs to be achieved by way of natural acting behavior. This means a truthful presentation without any duress. Fairness needs to be shown. The group has to show that we are not afraid to be audited. Secondly, it is necessary to talk openly about the difficulties that we as SAIs have to deal with, we come across in our daily operations. I also need to mention all problems we encounter, and we are also trying to try for the auditors to go deeply into our institution and to formulate solutions that are objective and how to achieve improvement. Thirdly, it is also important for the reviewer was objective and to provide the reviewers, the auditors, all information that the audited SAI has available, so that whether the information is good or bad, so not to hide anything. And the last thing is we need to have a protocol agreed where all assessment items will be formulated and an agreement will need to be formulated. Thank you very much for your attention and for your time.
Thank you very much, Mr. Fawad. My apologies to everybody that had trouble with sound. It looks like we've got technical hitches right at the end of the program. Maybe a hint that we should speed up and get to lunch. I think if I could pick on a couple of issues that I've heard during the presentation, I think I've heard a very big emphasis on the fact that there's going to be a trust relationship between that supreme institution that is being reviewed and the reviewer. Big emphasis on the preparations that need to go into this relationship, making sure that you can have inclusive views, that it's very objective, but there's a good understanding of a cultural context within which this review would play off, and then obviously also the value of communication. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to move on to Ms. Wilhelmine Runost. A very easy and straightforward question: how to take care of or deal with, my apologies, whether we will publish or not publish the peer review report, how, when, and for whose attention. Something that sounds very easy in theory, but probably a lot more difficult in practice. Wilhelmine?
Yes, I believe it is. Can everybody hear me? Yes? Okay, thank you. Well, to answer the first part of the question, whether or not to publish the results of a peer review, I would say yes, dare to publish the results because the benefits outweigh the risks of publishing. But be aware, because you should make an informed decision early in the peer review process about the publication of the peer review report. And thirdly, you should have faith in your sister institutions when it comes to the report. And I will explain what I mean more in detail.
Yeah, thank you. The reasons to publish a peer review report are mainly the same reasons as to perform a peer review. We've heard those reasons in many of the presentations yesterday and today. It enhances your credibility as an SAI. You should walk the talk, practice what you preach, and you should show that you're actively willing to learn and that you're eager to improve as an institution. SAIs are not infallible, and they have to continually adapt to a changing environment and therefore keep changing themselves. And in addition, publishing the peer review report can give an SAI that little bit of extra pressure to give follow-up to the peer review results. It helps you to move in the right direction. But the reason that I used the word dare in my opening statement with regards to publishing the peer review report is that we must not forget that we know all the reasons that I mentioned earlier on an abstract intellectual level. But in practice, it's a bit more complicated and exciting to publish a peer review report. There are definitely risks involved that you should be aware of. It takes courage to be open about your strengths and weaknesses as an SAI to the outside world. There's always the possibility that some of your stakeholders focus on the weaknesses that are shown in the report, and you should be prepared to take that risk. We've had experiences with an SAI that feared that certain negative conclusions in the peer review report would be used by Parliament to cut their budget. But our experience after participating in more than 20 peer reviews of other SAIs all around the world is that SAIs very rarely experience negative effects from publishing a peer review report. Most SAIs actually have very positive experiences. Many SAIs tend to be quite closed institutions that are not very used to ask feedback from the outside world and to deal with that feedback. And although we say that peer reviews are not to be seen as audits, which I've heard many times in the past 2 days, in our peer reviews we have experiences with a lot of auditee-like behavior from reviewed SAIs, especially in the reporting and publication phase. SAIs have tried to influence the contents of the peer review report and prevent publication of certain negative comments in the report, for example, exactly as auditees tend to do. And this shows that whether you've done a peer review once or several times already, the process and publication of the report remains exciting every time. As an SAI, you cannot control the outcome and the contents of the peer review report, and that is why it's so important to prepare a peer review very well. Choose your reviewing SAIs wisely, and especially the lead reviewer, who will be mainly responsible for the contents of the report. And that brings me to the issue of having faith in the reviewing SAIs, because peer review teams tend to be very much aware that their report will be published, and they are not out to get you, so to say. They are your critical friends. And in practice, peer reviewers choose their words wisely. I personally have yet to see a peer review report which states, for instance, that the quality management system of an SAI was absolutely terrible. It's usually stated in terms like, the SAI could benefit from improving this or that. So have faith in your sister institutions. Now on to the second part of the question, how, when, and for whom to publish the report. Well, in our experience, it is important to discuss with your peer review team at a very early stage whether you want to publish the peer review or not, and if so, in what form. And include this decision in the Memorandum of Understanding to manage expectations and make things clear. Do not let the decision to publish the peer review report or not depend on the results of the peer review. And in the peer reviews that we have executed over the last 20 years, we have seen 3 main forms of dealing with peer review reports. It's a publication for internal use by SAIs only, publication of a summary of the results, and a combination of the two. But mainly we see publication of the full report. And I guess publication of the full report is a good practice. Publishing a summary is also okay, especially if there are confidentiality issues. But any summary should be a true reflection of the results and should also include the negative comments made. And keeping the report for internal use only could suggest that you have something to hide. As to how to publish, I guess digital publishing is the standard nowadays because it makes the publishing, the dissemination very easy and makes the report easily accessible. And I expect to see a lot more complementary products next to the peer review report in the coming days because SAIs tend to produce more videos and other products nowadays. When to publish a peer review report is quite a difficult question. Our experience is that a peer review is difficult to plan anyway, let alone the peer review report publication. Usually the publication dates gets more detailed in the course of the process, and many times delayed. Some SIs strive to publish the peer review report together with their annual report, because that is also already their moment to be accountable to the outside world. And publishing the report within 2 months of finalization seems to be a fair standard to keep in mind. Publishing for whom was the final part of the question that was put to me. We would say, based on our experience, to make the report available for everyone without restrictions, because ultimately we're all paid with the taxpayers' money. And I would like to point out that you should not forget that other SIs are an important audience as well. I have personally found that peer review reports give a unique insight into an SAI's practice that cannot be found in any other kind of document. It's usually an enormous source of inspiration for good practices and also for reassurance, because it helps to know that other SAIs are struggling with the same kind of issues. So to conclude, the Netherlands Court of Audit believes that the benefits of publishing a peer review report surely outweigh any risks.
Thank you very much, Wilhelmine. I think you've used some interesting words that's not normally part of the vocabulary of an auditor. Things like courage and daring, faith, but that's exactly what's required. Again, trying to live by the rules that we determine from our auditees. But maybe, if I can have a lighter moment, also explain to us why sometimes our auditees are quite skeptical of us. It is quite different if you sit on the receiving end of a review. And maybe this also creates a little bit of sympathy for us when we deal with our auditees. I think one point certainly requires emphasis, and that is the whole idea of trusting that a process will play out and having the courage to ask. We've just in South Africa come from a situation where we've probably had one of the governments with the worst record in terms of financial management. It was, in our opinion, in a slightly different context, the worst time to ask for changes to our enabling legislation. Yet asked, got a fantastic answer from a government that felt that maybe they've wasted a couple of years in doing enough work for financial management and saw this as a last opportunity to leave a legacy. Found the right moment, could trust the process, and got the results. Fantastic. I'm going to move on very quickly. Again, in terms of time, we're under pressure a little bit to our third panelist, Mr. Pradana. The question that I've got for you, how to take care of or deal with the results of a peer review. Sir?
Thank you, Mr. Jan van Schalkwyk. Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon, goodbye. Nobody responded. Perhaps we're expecting finish the sessions very quickly, so I said goodbye. Well, with the consent from my vice chairman, I'm pleased to share and honor to share our experience with regard to the issues of this session. Is there about how to take care of the result of a peer review? Well, basically taking care of the result of a peer review, in our case, has been taking care for one round peer review is for 5 years. For 5 years. And now I only have 10 minutes to explain the 5 years into this session. So hopefully I will not miss the critical point. That's why I'm also presenting with the slide to help you to capture more important point during the 5-year experience. Let me start first with a little bit background on our peer review result, as indicated earlier by our vice chairman in the earlier sessions. In line with the objective and scope of the peer review, the result of our peer review provide a 3 main result. The first is an overall conclusion on the effectiveness of the quality control system. Secondly, the strength and weaknesses on the site performance, along with the recommendation for the improvement. And last but not the least, the status of the previous peer review result. So most of our peer review is focusing on the House of Audit quality control system consisting of 9 pillars. In 2004, we have been peer reviewed by New Zealand. There were around 14 recommendations. We have been completed altogether. 2009 by the side of Netherlands, 42 recommendation, and the last one by side of Poland in 2014. There are 34 recommendations, 28 already completed and 6 in the process, and we will discuss the final one later in this year together with the side of Poland. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the peer review results, how to take care of them, we talk perspective and initiative altogether to uphold the site reputation, trust, credibility, quality, as well as the value of benefit of site. So taking care of the result of the review is not in itself. We should put it in contact with other initiatives that will be done by external or internal reviewer. As such, we learned that first, to taking care of the peer review result, we should understand and clearly uphold about the culture, structure, and procedures are the 3 important aspects that need to be considered when we ensure the successful implementation of the result. Coffee break, 1 minute. I try to stand up in that podium and then I will speak loudly in English. Is that okay? Yeah, because at the end they cannot see me. I'm very Will be fall asleep. Get this done. Somebody is Okay, folks, then I would like to continue about how to achieve the result of peer review in line with the reputation and the value benefit of the site. In our experience, there are several components that need to be clear on our mind when we are working on the result of the peer review. First about the culture, structure, procedure should be exist. The culture dealing with the leadership and the discipline on how we will operationalize the result of the peer review. The procedure and structure will make sure that our result will consistent on the way it goes to achieve the main objective of the peer review, reputation, etc. Secondly, we anticipate the result of the peer review by conducting independent self-assessment by internal audit on quality control system element during the 5 years. So we will prepare with all the 9 pillars that being reviewed in the future peer review. Thirdly, it is important to incorporate the result of the peer review into our 5-year strategic plan and then operationalize altogether into 1 year or operational plans for respective unit responsible for the concerning of the result. And we also include together with the result of other assurance work by the public accounting firm or by internal assurance. So it will become a comprehensive integrated recipe to achieve the ultimate goals of the existence of the site. Next, we also use the result of the peer review as one of our internal performance measurement for the work unit responsible for the concerning result. So there is ownership on how to make the result effective. Next, we experience some recommendation touch upon the structural and foundation changes in our organization. As such, we have to be aware that certain recommendations really need a change management process. For example, one recommendation was to facilitate the effectiveness of our audit work, audit mandate, to calculate the state loss, as well as provide input for the law enforcement agency. We are then establish a special investigative audit unit. It is not only one-day process. We have discussed with the government, we have discussed with the parliament, because it will implicate the budget, etc. and etc. Next, the result of the peer review is also embedded in our knowledge management system to make sure the internal stakeholder can access the information from the very beginning up to the monitoring the progress of the result. And then the important aspect is also about the internal and external communication strategy that need to be considered when we try to operationalize the action plan into several activities. And last but not least, at the operational level, we established a coordinating team consisting of cross-cutting unit to take care of implementation of follow-up of the result. In order to guide the process, output, and outcome of the peer review, our side developed internal policy that is covering the preparation or planning, and then implementation, monitoring, reporting, and also tools to equip the process along the 3 stages. Yeah. And we are also following the point in the ISAI 5600, especially para 1 into para 9.1 into para 9.6. And what activities that we are doing for the peer review result? First, about the preparation or planning stages. Once we already received the peer review result, then we establish team, and the team responsible for preparing, implementing, monitor, and report the result. And the output of this preparation stages would be the development of the detailed action plan. We discussed about the importance of each recommendation, the nature, time horizon, resources, output and outcome, and possible risk if we are not taking care of the recommendation, to set the priority and send the work unit in charge. And then after we got the action plan, then we asked for the commitment from the top management by signing the document. By then we will make a report to the board about the action plan that we are going to do in the next 5 years, and also inform this action plan to the peer reviewer. Once the action plan has been approved, then it is the roles and responsibility of working unit in charge to taking care of the concerning result. They will lead the implementation together with the other unit concerning with the result. And there should be room for flexibility when exercising on operationalization the result. Because when we establish action plan, we have a 5-year feasibility. But then when it comes to the 1-year plan, there are so many changes happening throughout the year. In this case, room for flexibility is also inviting external partnership. For example, one recommendation is to enhance one pillar regarding promoting, enhancing the quality of stakeholder relationship. In this case, we knew that the USAID have the same program. So we work together with the USAID to fund and to help us to establish the pillar on the stakeholder relationship. During the implementation, it is an obligation of each unit to provide evidence and report to the Principal Inspectorate. Principal Inspectorate is our internal audit. So they coordinate all the status of the progress of the peer review result. At that time, the Principal Inspectorate can also conduct an independent assessment to ensure the progress of the follow-up action. Next, monitoring stages. It is conducted regularly by Principal Inspectorate and it is maintained in the portal. So everybody, you can also, since it is put in the portal, so internal stakeholder can access directly the status, the progress of the portal, and the evidence supporting the status of the program. And during the monitoring activity, the Principal Inspectorate, together with the work unit responsible for concerning result, will discuss the status of its action, whether it's already completed, or still in process, or not yet followed up, or even could not be followed up. Yeah. Based on these activities, then we regularly conduct national annual meeting to discuss, monitor, and report the status and renew the commitment. So all of us across the countries sit together and set the new commitment on the following up of the result of the peer review. Next stages is the reporting stages. It deals with the internal and external stakeholder report. We produce the interim report by semester for the purpose of top management monitoring, and then annual report to the board, and then last but not the least, 5-year report prior to the next review. It will be submitted to the peer reviewer and also to the parliament as a part of our transparency and accountability. To close, I would like to cite a well-known saying: once a new technology rolls over you, if you are not part of the steamroller, then you are part of the road. I hope we can roll together with the new good practices, especially on dealing with the result of peer review, so that none of us here leave behind, because we inspired by into same motto, mutual experience, benefit to all. Ďakujem, milujem Slovenska. Thank you, terima kasih.
Thank you very much. I think, although it's late in the program, it highlights the fact that you can invest a lot of effort into your peer review, undergo that process, engage, but if you do not do something at the end, if you do not have a very structured process of taking it forward, you may still not reap the benefits. If I can just very quickly reflect on the 3 presentations that we had, we heard from Algeria the importance of trust and objectivity in this process. And I suppose in a large degree that goes back to the selection of the peer reviewers, the creation of a proper memorandum of understanding up front, good preparation. We've also heard from the Netherlands how important it is to, right up front, consider what you're going to do in terms of publishing, and to lead by example, to be daring to get out there and share with everybody, and to trust the process. This will be a positive impact for everybody. I think you also talked about a very important thing from a capacity building point of view, the fact that it's not just for your own side that you're preparing that report. There's many other sides that would be reading that and reacting and learning from that. And then lastly, the session we just had, a very structured follow-up process, even to the point of a policy, formal reporting, efforts to address this, and making sure that you supplement this review with other practices, internal and external. We are almost fresh out of time, but I think we're going to do incredible disservice if we don't just check quickly in the audience whether there's questions for our 3 panel members. Can I have an indication whether there's any questions? Great. Let me thank the 3 panel members. Apologies again for the technicalities that interrupted us and made it quite difficult initially, especially. Thanks for the people that stepped up and made it work despite that. Thank you, Moderator.
John, thank you very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to give the floor for the President of Slovak Supreme Audit Office at the closing address. Thank you very much.
Vážené dámy, vážení páni.
Dear colleagues, friends. I think I can call you friends after 2 intense days. I have lots of papers in front of me. It's not because I want to talk for a long time. I have an agenda here, and the last item is the closing address by the SAO President, Karol Mitrík. Hence, I'm here. Magic 2 words, peer review. This community that gathered here has joined forces for the last 2 days, and I think the peer review, as presented when you were coming here, it unifies the IDOSAI world. Today and during these days, this became a reality. After all, we've gathered here representatives of 47 institutions and more than 90 people who discussed this topic in very informed manner with lots of experience. Certainly everyone will be able to take something away from this meeting that he or she might be able to apply in the near future in their respective institution. Here on these panels, and we have had 17 panelists, but when I was listening to the presentations, including the panels, more than 30 people actively participated, and I want to, from here, thank all panelists, all those who were willing to present and enriching us by their sharing of their experience and know-how. Sharing experience is very valuable. Yesterday I mentioned that peer review is really a review by a peer, by equals. This is not an audit. I really think this is an assessment. It's a review. And as presented yesterday, 2 weeks ago, we've just completed PMF at our office. Next year we are embarking on peer review. And I must say that even for me personally, it was very useful, because today, as the head of our SAI, I will be able to make a much better decision as to the domains that will be reviewed. They need to be selected well, and we also need to bear consequences that the assessment will bring. We have to, and I think it is clear to all of us that our offices need to be open institutions. We are the shop window. We cannot conceal anything. We have to lead by example. And therefore, the PMF, the peer review, we have to be subjected to this process. And speaking on my own behalf, I cannot imagine for the PMF results not to be published. Simply with warts and all, we have to face and accept the responsibility. Otherwise, the SAI will not be the example, and therefore everything we've shared here today was very valuable. I would like to ask colleagues from the South African SAI to give my greetings to the President, who addressed us in the form of video, and I look forward to meet him soon. Of course, I'd like to thank all of you, because you were a very perceptive, attentive, and very constructive audience, very disciplined audience. The coffee breaks were coffee breaks, and the meeting time allocated to meetings was complied, and I would like to thank you for that. And to be fair to those who took to the stage, and I would like to ask you all for a round of applause for the speakers. And here I'd like to thank my colleagues who almost 1.5 years been preparing this meeting, and the lion's share of the organization goes to mainly two gentlemen from our office. This is the international department head, Mr. Ciho, and Imrich Gal, who with his people was preparing this meeting, and of course to all others who have helped to make this event a success. And last duty, to thank again, to wish you bon appetit and a safe return back to your homes, and spread the good word about this conference. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I'd like to invite you to lunch, and I believe that those of you who will stay in Bratislava, you will enjoy the Slovak metropole. Yesterday we were able to deliver a true summer weather. Today it's been cooled off, and you can see what the real summer weather looks like here in Slovakia. And I believe that as long as you have come full of enthusiasm, you had your expectations, and I hope that we as organizers managed to meet these expectations, and that you will leave being richer by having met new people and shared experience. And this was our objective. Once again, thank you. And as our SAI president, on behalf of all organizers, I wish you a safe return home.